Welcome to the Urban Blackboard, the program that brings you glimpses of urban life and tries to show you the lessons those glimpses teach us. Today's program showcases an entrepreneur who wants to bring entrepreneurial opportunities to the Patterson community. As we look at our city's deep-rooted challenges, among which are crime, taxes, an underperforming school system, and deep poverty, we cannot help but notice one underlying theme runs through most, if not all, of these issues, that being the loss of jobs, or in Patterson's case, a large manufacturing base. As the country's first planned industrial city, manufacturing was the lifeblood of the community. Its slow economic decline has been associated with the well-heralded loss of this manufacturing base. In the wake of the loss, once a northern New Jersey jewel, Patterson has descended into economic distress. Low-wage jobs exist, but a true entrepreneurial milieu has not flourished here in quite some time. When we return, today's guest will present his approach to addressing this very confounding situation. We'll be right back.
Straight up, police.
Yo, little brother, what's up with these drugs? You wanna make a lot of money and be a thug? You want these fancy cars to flaunt your money? But then you go to jail like all the other dudes. Straight up, it ain't cool. You know what they say?
Police.
So you got a 9mm in your face. It's a game you can't win, so don't try to play. Let's spread the word from New York to LA.
Straight up,
We're here to tell you that drugs are for suckers. Straight up.
police. Straight up, freeze. Straight up, police.
My guest today is Mr. Percy Drakeford from the Five Links Enterprise. Mr. Drakeford, welcome to the Urban Blackboard.
Thank you for having me, sir.
So tell us, what does your program entail?
Well, my program entails, Dr. Hodge, is simply this. We are a direct selling company, and we help people that want to start their own business get on the ground floor and become entrepreneurs. Because, you know, people want to start up and they want to go to the bank and so on and so forth. And so what we do, for a low startup, you can come in and be an entrepreneur with our program. We market anything from gourmet coffee to affordable discount rates on hotels and things of that nature.
So how do people get involved?
Well, what people will get involved is a very great question. One thing that we have to get involved is to see the opportunity, because this is a direct selling company. Let me go back. Direct selling has been around a long time. It's one of the most powerful industries out there. It's bigger than the NFL, the music industry, the movie industry. It's a $172 billion industry. And to get involved with that, you simply have to have an open mind and have an entrepreneur mindset. And pretty much that's it.
So now, I've heard a lot of questionable descriptions for a program like this. How do you explain it to our viewers so they can thoroughly understand what your program is about?
When you hear about direct selling, sir, great question. When you hear about direct selling, let's address the elephant in the room. Let's do that. The elephant in the room, sir, is the pyramid scheme. But what people don't know is, realistically, you're trapped in a pyramid. If there's one president in this country, but there's thousands and thousands of ethnic backgrounds or ethnic groups, that's a pyramid. Your local police department here in Patterson, there's only one police chief. If the last police officer came out of the academy and had desires or aspirations to be a police chief, he or she would have to wait 15, 20 years just to get that position. That's a pyramid. So that's the educational portion of what the elephant in the room is.
So how does your program work?
What our program work is we do this. We have, like, I give a case in point. If you watch television, have internet, drink coffee, want to lose weight, look for discounts, right? We then take that group and put it with this group. This is the overweight and underpaid group. We take those two groups together, merge them together, and make a great income. That's what we do.
What do you mean when you put them together? How is that?
Because we're looking in this tough economic time, people are looking to save money. They're looking to save money. They're looking for bargains. They're looking for discounts. That's Group A. Group B, you had the overworked and underpaid group. And so what we're doing, you're going to have what's called residual bills. No one can pay off an energy bill. If you were to call your local PSE&G, for instance, and say, hey, this is my last payment, they're going to cut your service off after that 30-day cycle is up. So we have product and service like what we like to call recession-proof. People are going to pay an energy bill. People are going to drink coffee for the most part. People are going to look for discounts for the most part. And so what we do, we take that group and put it with the overworked and underpaid group and make a decent income.
So how does a person get involved in your program?
Well, what they would have to do is sit down with an executive such as myself. I have countless people in my organization. Sit down with them, and we put together what's called a strategic game plan. Because in most businesses, it takes years and years and years to become profitable. We put together a strategic plan that you can become profitable in your first 30 days.
So they become their own business through your process.
That's correct. It's basically, for lack of a better word, it's a franchise.
All right, in your franchise, they are asked to do what? They become salesmen for your products?
No. What we do, let's say, for instance, let's use you as an example. Dr. Hodges came into my organization. I then say, Dr. Hodges, let's make a list of your 25 people that have the following criteria: overworked and underpaid, and just simply introduce the program to what we're doing. And then from there, we have what's called a grand opening, because in any business, you have to have a grand opening. Let's take, with all due respect, Walmart. Walmart, no matter if Walmart come to Patterson, Newark, whatever, they're going to have a grand opening. So you have to have a grand opening, because people know Dr. Hodges as the educator. They do not know Dr. Hodges as an entrepreneur. And so we have to let people know, what does Dr. Hodges have his hands on?
Okay. And you have a set of products that you offer?
Yes, we definitely do. We have a suite of products that we offer for residential as well as for commercial. We have a suite of products for business owners and the whole now. We're super excited about our gourmet coffee, which is the Montevita coffee. The Montevita coffee, you can actually drink coffee and lose weight at the same time. But what we are super excited, Dr. Hodges, what we are super excited about is the TV deal that we're going to launch in April, which means you can get premium channels, local channels, Netflix, no credit check, no contract, $60 a month. So the obvious thing, well, how does that work? What that means, we're now in the age of apps. This particular TV product is an app. And so what you do, you would download this app to your television set. You can now get TV service. Let's say, for instance, you go to Georgia. You want to move to Georgia. You want to pack up. You want to move to Georgia, and life is good. You go to Georgia. I'm just using Georgia as an example. You go to Georgia. I don't know the cable service down there. You say, hey, I'm Georgia now. I need cable service. They give you a window of 10 to 12. Well, guess what? They don't show up until 5. With our service, you move to your location, turn your TV on. Life is good. That we're taking television into the 21st century. That's what we're doing.
So they would become cable companies?
No, what we have done, we have partnered with different companies. Not so much as cable. We're moving away from cable. We're going to become our own TV provider. We have partnered up with the Springs of the world, the AT&T of the world, the Verizons of the world, companies of that nature. We have done that.
Before, I'm going to ask you a little bit more about that.
Absolutely.
But first, we need to hear, have a short break.
Yes.
We'll get right back to you.
Awesome.
Welcome back. We're here speaking with Mr. Percy Drakeford of the Five Links Enterprise. When we left, you were talking to us about an association with Sprint and Netflix type companies
That's correct.
to bring television programs.
That's correct.
Please expand on that.
I'm glad. That's a great question. Companies are now looking at direct selling companies to get the message out. They're spending millions and millions and millions of dollars to get the word out, and it's not working. And so, what direct selling is word of mouth advertising. So what they're doing, they're saving on that advertising budget and giving it to the direct selling companies to get the word out because most time when people watch television, they go on channel search. But if I come to your home, we're having a conversation about my program, you can't turn me off. You're gonna listen to what I'm saying. So companies like the Sprints of the world and Verizon, they understand that. So a lot of these companies are now getting the word out with their by direct sellers. Just like Facebook. Facebook, believe it or not to distract, Facebook was launched and never did a commercial. It was word of mouth. That's where we are into the 21st century. Advertising is going into the 21st century by way of word of mouth.
Okay, so these companies, they give you part of their business, or they sell you their products, which in television shows, which you can then put on the air.
Well, that's the television show is something different. That's something that we're going to be doing.
Okay.
That's our baby. That's our product. The TV portion of this is our product. Where Sprint is saying, hey, you know what? We like what you guys are doing. We want to partner with you and have you help us to market our products, i.e. the Sprint and Verizon and T-Mobile, AT&T, things of that nature. That's just a small number.
And the personal or the entrepreneur that works through to this program.
That's correct.
They would be doing what? Selling those products to other people?
No, what they would do, great question. What they would do, basically what it is that people always have a need. They're always going to have a need. You may be at the barber shop or somebody might be at the hair salon and give you an example. At the barber shop, they say, hey man, they cut my hours, or this one particular bill is driving bananas with the cost, and me being an entrepreneur, I say, hey man, I probably can help you save some money on that bill. Hey, what do you have? And I basically tell them what I got, give them a little bit about what I have, and give them my business card. We exchange business cards, exchange information, then see what we could do business.
Now, you've also mentioned something about bringing this kind of program to students.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How would that work?
Well, great question. Let me give you an analogy, Dr. Hodges, before I bring it home for you. A young man in the household with both his parents. His father has 2 jobs, his mom has 2 jobs. But yet, between the two of them, they have 4 jobs, and yet they have nothing. This young man is now going to go to school, and what is he thinking? He's thinking, my parents have 4 jobs, but yet we're not making it. We're not living the American dream. So what is this young man is going to think? He's going to say, you know what? I got to go and get 2 jobs. My wife has got to go and get 2 jobs, and we still may not make it. And so what we're saying, hey, let's give the young generation a fighting chance. I'm 57 age. Nobody taught me about entrepreneur. What they told me was go to school, get an education, and get a job, and get a job that has good benefits. That's what they told me. Nobody taught me about entrepreneurship.
I see. So the students would then do what exactly?
Well, what we would do is you have to have a willingness to want to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So you got to have a willingness, and if they are willing to be an entrepreneur, we can teach them from the ground level on what it takes to be an entrepreneur. This is what we can do with the young people.
So this isn't just then for, well, I know it sounds good for students in school, but what if they're not in school? What if these people are, some of our students who have their own companies out on the streets, street corners, as it were.
Okay.
How could we use this kind of program to pull them off of the street and give them their own businesses at home?
Well, that's a great question. We know that street activity, not calling it what it is not going to last long. Mm-hmm. It's not going to last long because they have the entrepreneur mindset. They just don't know what to do. For instance, young people have great ideas. I give you my word. They have great ideas. they don't have the collateral background, if you will, to go to a bank and get a bank loan to start their own business. What we're saying, you can get in with us for a fraction of what it would cost to start your traditional business and become successful.
Well, they would say that they're doing great in sales, but the product is of questionable valuable to the community.
Well,
But they do engage in marketing, sales, and everything else. It's just that their product is illegal. So
That's
what
right.
you're saying is you're giving them, you want to substitute that product for a more valuable commodity for the community.
That's correct.
And for themselves.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Now, you also mentioned community groups. How could they benefit from this?
Great question. I spend a lot of time talking to pastors and people of the ministry, and one of the things I've learned over the last 18 months or so, there has been a decline in tithes and offerings. I did a conference call about a year ago, and there was pastors and apostles from the East Coast to the West Coast. And one of the things we were talking about, and I always ask, I said, have you seen a decrease in tithes and offerings? Absolutely. And typically, the decrease happened from Black Friday through March, right? There was another pastor on the phone, and she says, well, wait a minute, there's even a bigger problem than that. And I says, what's the problem? She said, there's a decrease between June and September. I says, wait a minute. You're telling me that for 6 months, people are diligent in paying tithes and offerings, and for 6 months they're not? I says, absolutely. I says, why is that? They said, because they're taking those dollars and doing other things. But I says, well, wait a minute. What happens if the church springs a leak? What happens if the church needs steps or whatever the case may be? What happens? The congregation doesn't get it. So what we're trying to do is to educate the congregation. What we're trying to do is educate the ministry. We have a program that of all the products that we have, this one that is near and dear to me. We have a product called Links to Funds, which a ministry or a 501c3 program can get involved.
Before you go into that in any further depth, hold on for this one more message.
Absolutely.
Play ball!
Imagine you're enjoying your child's baseball game. As hard as it is to believe, one of the 9 children on the field may be abusing prescription drugs and getting them right out of your family's medicine chest. Join the American Medicine Chest Challenge by taking inventory and securing your medicine, safely disposing of your unwanted and expired medicine, and finally, talk to your kids. Visit AmericanMedicineChest.com to find out how.
Welcome back. When we left, we were about to talk about how community groups can benefit from this program. So go ahead.
Well, thank you, Dr. Hodges. We have a program that's called Links to Funds, and what that simply means is we can position a ministry, a pastor, a 501c3 entity to market our product and services. The difference between their opportunity and our opportunity, as long as they can prove the ministry / the nonprofit organization that they are in compliance with 501c3, we will set them up with our website free of charge. There's no cost to the congregation, there's no cost charged to the organization, and they can market the same products and services that I market on my website, and it seems to be a viable tool because churches and non-profit organizations, they're trying to do a fundraiser, and we're trying to bring everything into the 21st century. And there's nothing wrong with the way the fundraising is being done today. However, you take the church, there are people in the church that's going to watch television. There's people in the church that's going to drink coffee. There's people in the church that's going to look for bargains. Well, then if that's the case, then we can set the church up, give them their own website similar to what I have in terms of marketing product and services, and then they can go and get those same services and keep those dollars within the church and keep those dollars within the nonprofit organization. And it's free of charge.
And become entrepreneurs at the same time.
Absolutely.
So this is a great opportunity for fundraising for nonprofits.
Absolutely.
Okay. How would you approach, we had touched on it briefly earlier, how would you approach the I call them street entrepreneurs.
That's it. Well, we call those street pharmaceuticals. We want
Okay.
we want street pharmacists. We want to be respectful. I often talk to the young people about their endeavors, and they don't have a belief level. And so what I get them to first do, I get them at ease to have a conversation with me, and I show them. I say, look, what you're doing is not viable. What you're doing is not sustainable. At some point, you're going to get caught, because we cannot lose sight. They want to be entrepreneurs. It's just that the way they're doing it versus the way I'm doing it is they're illegal, I'm legal. And so I try to bring them on the legal side of things and help them to become successful.
You know, I have spoken to students who were in the juvenile detention center, and I've been very frank with them. I said, listen, you are entrepreneurs. You are selling products, looking at business models, going out there, hiring people, looking at your customers, trying to bring in different types of products. You're doing everything that a business person does, except your product is illegal.
That's correct.
And I said, if you turned around and became a legal vendor with legal products, you could join the Chamber of Commerce.
That's correct.
And some of you win a lot of awards for how successful your operations
That's
are.
correct.
But they just don't see it that way. So how would you speak to that
Well, what I would tell
with this program?
What I would simply tell them, Dr. Hodges, you gotta have in our business, you gotta have a why. Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Let's take the street pharmacist. Let's go on street pharmacist. Why do a street pharmacist want to be a street pharmacist? Why do you want to do that? Okay, and so this is what I ask a young person when I speak to them. I says, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do right now? Oh man, my mom works hard. I would buy my mom a beautiful house. Why would you buy a beautiful house? Oh, she's worked hard. She's done her best by me. She's tried to give me things, this, that, and the other. I says, great. I said, if you had the opportunity to go on vacation, where would you go? Well, I've never been on vacation. I said, come on, this is a vast world. Where would you go? Oh, I would go here, I would go here. What's stopping you? I don't have the money. I said, I can help you live your dream if you're open-minded to living your dream. Because right now, this is the best time, like no other. This is the best time to be an entrepreneur. History has proven that the best time to start to become an entrepreneur is in an election year. We do not know who's going to be the next president going forth in November to January of next year. Okay. This is the opportune time. Here's what a lot of people do not know, Dr. Hodges. Here's what people do not know. Walmart closed, or in the process of closing 154 stores across the country.
That's a good idea.
Think about that. Where are these people going to go? They're going to be displaced. Where are they going to go? A lot of people missed the boat 2-3 weeks ago. Apple lost $50 billion in 3 days. What's going to happen with those people? Where are they going to go? And so what we're saying, listen, we can position you to be an entrepreneur for a fraction of what it would cost to start your own traditional business. And then from there, the sky's the limit.
So tell our community, how do they reach you, and how can they find more information about what you're trying to offer?
Well, they can reach me at Percy, and my email address is percydrakeford@gmail.com.
How would you spell Drakeford?
P as in Paul, E-R-C-Y, D as in David, R as in Robert, A, K-E, F as in Frank, O-R-D, @gmail.com.
And the best way to reach you is by email?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Mr. Drakeford, I thank you very much for bringing your business to the Urban Blackboard and reaching out to our community.
But Dr. Hodges, I want to thank you, sir. I want to thank you for giving me the platform. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my opportunity. So I thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you again. We want to thank Mr. Percy Drakeford for sharing his program with us. We only scratched the surface on what his program can offer. Back when I was in high school, we had government-run programs like Manpower and CETA, which gave young people in rural towns and urban centers the opportunity to work during the summer. These jobs put money in their pockets, but more importantly, taught them the value of hard work, modeled the responsibility of being on time, delivering a work product that was satisfactory to your employer, and began to prepare you for life after you left school. All of these skills translated well to expected efforts in the classroom, and additionally provided financial opportunities that often didn't exist otherwise in their communities. These programs are gone now, along with the examples that they taught so many young people. Mr. Drakeford's program may be a homegrown approach that begins to reteach these skills and model that responsibility. Time will tell. And if and when it does, we'll cover it right here on the Urban Blackboard. See you next time.